In today's discussion, we will do numericals on error analysis. We'll do all types of numericals on this chapter. Simple numericals, numericals which are slightly advanced, or some numericals where the calculation is a little different from the actual one what we are expecting. So let's do numericals on error analysis. So let's take the first question. In an experiment performed to measure the refractive index of glass, the value of refractive index was found to be 1.54, 1.53, 1.44, 1.54, 1.56 and 1.45 in successive measurements. Find absolute error, second, mean absolute error, relative error, percentage error, and express the result in terms of absolute error and percentage error. For doing this type of problem, of course you know that absolute error, if you have to take, then this will be given as x minus x naught. This is the error in each observation, and absolute error, if you take, it will be mod of this. This x is the observations and this x naught is the mean value or true value. Here only observations are given. So first of all we need to find out what is the mean value of refractive index. So mu mean will be 1.54, 1.53 plus 1.44, 1.54, 56, 1.45 divided by 6. We have 6 observations there. 9.06 divided by 6, and this is your 1.51. So this is the mean value of refractive index. Now if we calculate errors in each measurement, then this will be delta x1, which is your 1.54 minus 1.51, that is your 0.03. Delta x2, similarly it will be your 0.02. x3 will be minus 0.07. x4 0.03. x5 0.05 and x6 is your minus 0.06. Remember that these are errors in each measurement. They are not absolute errors. Absolute error is always with positive sign. So, but errors we can express with plus or minus sign as it is just the difference. But absolute error is magnitude of difference between the measured value and true value. So it will, if you have to express absolute error, in that case all will be taken with positive sign. Next is your mean absolute error. So for mean absolute error we will be taking sum of the absolute errors and we divide it by the number of entities there. So since there were 6 observations, so all will be added here and divided by 6. So this is your 0.26 divided by 6. This one will come out to be 0.043. Now the final result, when we have to write, we will take care for the significant figures, and for that we may have to round options there. So if you round off, in that case it will be 0.04, because here all observations you will find that they are up to 2 places after decimal there, and they have the 3 significant figures. So it is your 0.04. Now here, if you consider now relative error, in that case it will be the mean absolute error divided by the mean value or true value. Now mean absolute error just we have taken 0.04, so it is your 0.04 divided by the true value or the mean value there, which is your 1.51. So again this will be 0.0264 if you do the calculation, and if you take care of the significant figures, in that case it is your 0.03. Do revise significant figures and rules of differentiation before you proceed for numericals on error analysis. Next is your percentage error. So relative error into 100, that will give the percentage error there. It is basically relative error expressed in percentage. So it is your 0.03 into 100, and that will give you 3%. And the last part is you have to express the result in terms of absolute error and percentage error. So final result will be 1.51 plus minus. Our absolute error is how much? Mean absolute error 0.04. So this is the expression for mu. If you express it in terms of the mean absolute error, and if you express it in terms of the percentage, then it is your 1.51 plus minus 3%. So this is how we do this. This is basically just a recap of the terms which we have used. What is mean absolute error, what is relative error, what is percentage error. This numerical is based on that concept only and its definition. Now, second question. Two bodies of masses 15.6 plus minus 0.2 gram and 28.9 plus minus 0.2 gram are put in a bag of negligible mass. What is the total mass of the bag? This is just a question based on addition of two physical quantity where we calculate what is the total error in that final result. So for that, it will be, if I assume that M is your M1 plus M2, then total error in M will be delta M1 plus delta M2. So here, the errors, if you consider, it is your, for delta M, it will be your 0.2 plus 0.2, and that is your 0.4 gram. Whereas for the mass, if I take M1 plus M2, this will be giving you the value 15.6 plus minus 28.9, and this is your, so final result, total mass plus minus 0.4 gram. This is the total mass of the bag. Next question is, the specific heat capacities of a gas are measured as Cp equals to 12.28 plus minus 0.2 units and Cv 3.97 plus minus 0.3 units. Find the value of gas constant R measured. We have the formula relating a specific heat at constant pressure and a specific heat at constant volume with gas constant, and this is your Cp minus Cv equals to R. So we have to use this one. In fact, this particular question is based on calculation of error in case of difference. So we'll be taking this one again. If you consider for R, then it is your 12.28 plus minus 0.2 for Cp, and for Cv it is your 3.97 plus minus 0.3. This will give you the value of R here. So this is your 12.28 minus 3.97. Cp and Cv will subtract, and here for errors it will be added. So this error 0.2 and 0.3, these are the errors in Cp and Cv respectively. So we'll add the two together, and now if you take this one, 0.5 units. This is the value for R. So in terms of error, its value will be given as 8.31 plus minus 0.5 units. In fact, just take care that you are adding the errors, not subtracting. Next question is, the length and breadth of a rectangular lamina are measured to be 25.2 centimeter and 16.8 centimeter respectively. Find the percentage error in area of the lamina. Now, area of the lamina, you know that we can write it as length into breadth. And for percentage error in area, it is just like the percentage error of the product of two physical quantity. So delta A by A will be delta L by L plus delta B by B. And percentage error in A will be delta A by A into 100, which is basically delta L by L plus delta B by B multiplied by 100. But one thing you must have noticed, that it is only the length and the breadth values are given. In the question it is not mentioned what is the error there. It is just mentioned that the length is 25.2 centimeter and breadth is 16.8 centimeter. But in this data which is given, if length is given as 25.2 centimeter, whichever instrument have been used, it can measure accurately up to one place after decimal, because it is going up to one place after decimal. So minimum measurement with that instrument will be 0.1 centimeter, and that will also indicate the maximum error in that. So that means this will give you the value of delta L as 0.1 centimeter. Whatever is the minimum measurement that can be expressed in terms of whatever data is given, that means using that particular instrument, that will give you the error there. So similarly for the breadth, it is your 16.8 centimeter. So again for this one, delta B will be 0.1, because it will go again up to one place after decimal. So it is this much. So if you put it there, it is 0.1 by 25.2, 0.1 divided by 16.8, and the whole term if you multiply by 100, this will be roughly 1%. So error in the measurement will be 1%. In this problem, basically what you have to see, if the error value is not mentioned specifically in the problem, then from the given data you can find out what is the error in that measurement, and that you can simply substitute in the formula and get the result. Next question, the potential difference V across a resistor carrying current I are measured as V equals to 100 plus minus 5 volt and I equals to 10 plus minus 0.2 ampere. Find the percentage error in R. Now you know that R is given as V by I. Resistance is potential difference by current. So this is basically a problem where division of two functions are involved. So you have to find error in such cases. So here if you take a delta R by R and maximum value, in that case this will be your delta V by V plus delta I by I. If we just take this term and find delta R by R, it will be your delta V by V minus delta I by I, but we always take maximum value, so it will be with plus sign. So this is your delta V is given as 5 divided by 100 plus 0.2 divided by 10. So this is your 5 by 100, 2 by 100, 7 by 100. Therefore percentage error in R, that will be 7 by 100 into 100, that is 7%. So this will be the final result. For division, as you know that error is always added. Relative error which we are taking, it is always added there. So in that case it will give you the maximum percentage error in R as 7%, and that will be the answer. Another question, the percentage error in measurement of side and mass of a cube are 3% and 4% respectively, find the percentage error in the measurement of the density. Now again, this is also very simple. Density is mass by volume, and volume, if you express in terms of the side, then it is your mass by side cube. Mass by side cube. So if you take delta D by D, this is your delta M by M, plus this is the maximum, plus 3 times delta L by L. And maximum percentage error, if I take percentage error in D, this will be percentage error in M plus 3 times percentage error in L. Now you see, percentage error in side is 3% and mass it is 4%. Here the student make a mistake. They just take that first term might be the mass and the second one is that of side or length. But just be very careful. Read the question carefully. What is given there? So percentage error in mass is your 4%, and this is 3% as the error in the measurement of the side. So 3 into 3. So it is 4 plus 9. That means 13% will be the final error in the measurement of density. The quantity X is related to 4 quantities A, B, C, D, as X equals to A cube B square by root over C into D. Find the percentage error in X if the percentage error in A, B, C, D are 1%, 2%, 4% and 3% respectively. This is the question which is often asked in the exam, and this is based on the expression for percentage error for a general case, or you can say for power function there. So for this one, as X is given as A cube B square by root over C into D, then we can write delta X by X. This will be 3 times delta A by A plus 2 times delta B by B. All power terms will just be multiplied with their relative error, and this is, of course, we are taking maximum one. So plus half delta C by C plus delta D by D. And if you take percentage error, in that case we'll just multiply it by 100. So this will be 3 times percentage error in A, 2 times percentage error in B, half percentage error in C, plus percentage error in D. And this is giving you maximum percentage error in X. So this is your 3, and percentage error in A, this is given as 1%, so it is 3 into 1. 2, percentage error in B is given as 2%, so it is 2. It is half. Percentage error in C is 4%, and this is your 3%. So it is 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 3. So this is your 12%. So this will give you the value of maximum percentage error in X. Time period of oscillation of a simple pendulum is given as t equals to 2 pi root over L by G. L is about 10 centimeter and is known to 1 millimeter accuracy. The time of 100 oscillations is measured as 50 seconds with a stopwatch of 1 second resolution. Find the percentage error in calculation of G. So for this, if you see the formula, T is 2 pi root over L by G. This is given. So we can write it as T square 4 pi square L by G, or G will be equals to 4 pi square L by T square. So now if you take the maximum percentage error in G, so maximum percentage error in G, this will be delta L by L plus 2 times delta T by T into 100. Because this term is basically delta G by G into 100. So you have to find what is the error in the measurement of length, what is the error in the measurement of the time period. Now it is given that L is about 10 centimeter and it is measured to 1 millimeter accuracy. It means it is your 0.1 divided by 10. 0.1 centimeter divided by 10 centimeter. Now this is your 2. Delta T and T, this is the time period. Capital T, in the formula which you are using, it is the time period of oscillation of simple pendulum. So this one you'll find it is being solved as 1 by 50 because the recorded time they are taking as 50 seconds. They have measured the time of 100 oscillation as 50 seconds. So their recorded time is 50 seconds. And they have measured that with the help of a stopwatch whose resolution is 1 second. So in that case, a maximum error which is possible with that stopwatch is 1 second. And in that case, it is your 1 by 50 they are taking. This whole term multiplied by 100. And this is taken as 1 by 100. This we can write, to suppose I multiply by 2 and divide also by 2. 1, 2 is already there. So this is your 1 plus 4, that is 5%. But you'll find that you'll get the answer as given in the book. But here, when we are taking this particular term, delta T by T, what we have substituted? 1 by 50. How we have substituted? Probably as the recorded time is 50 seconds and the error may be maximum 1 second with that stopwatch. So error will be 1 second in the measured time of 50 seconds. So they have taken it 1 by 50. But what is this T? This is the time period of oscillation of the simple pendulum. And you have recorded time for 100 oscillation as 50 seconds. So what will be the time period? If you take the time period, it is 50 by 100. So that is your 0.5 second. Are we putting this value as 0.5 second? No. And this delta T, this is 1 second. But of course, this also indicates why we should not take the time of only 1 second measurement or one time period. Why we should not take the time period for only one oscillation there, or we should not record the time only for one oscillation, because in that case the error will be too much there. Because if you take the time period is only 0.5 second and the resolution of the instrument is of 1 second, so it will be your 1 by 0.5. That means that if you consider, it will be like 200% error. So here basically what you should take, we have taken 100 oscillation. What is the time taken? It is 50 seconds, right? So for one oscillation, what is the time taken? It is your 50 by 100. And what you call it as time taken in one oscillation. This is the time period. And this is giving you time recorded divided by number of oscillation. So in this case, it is, suppose I represent by T and this is your N. N is giving you number of oscillation which you have taken. So basically your expression for time period is T equals to small t by N. So now you have the expression T as T by N. So in this case, if I take delta T, it will be delta T here divided by N. That means this will be the error in the measurement of time. This is the recorded time. So if you now consider that what is this delta T by T, this will give you delta T by N, T by N. And now see, this is your error in the measurement of time period, that is delta T, which is your delta T by N. So this N will get cancelled, so you will get T by T, which is your 1 by 50. Incidentally, in this case, what you are getting, delta T by T value same as what you have substituted there for the error. That is why you get the correct answer there. So for this case, percentage error in the measurement of G is 5%. Okay. One more thing you remember, many times it is asked what is the accuracy in the measurement. So for the same question, if it is asked what is the accuracy in the measurement of G, it will be 100 minus 5 because the error is 5%. So accuracy in the measurement will be 95%. Find maximum possible error in capital Y, which we are using it to represent Young's modulus. Basically it is capital gamma, equals to 4 mgl by pi d square small l, where max m is 1000 gram, original length capital L is 200.0 centimeter, d is 0.075 centimeter and extension L 0.325 centimeter. We have to find maximum possible error in the measurement of Young's modulus of elasticity. So it is given capital Y is 4 mgl by pi d square L. When we take maximum percentage error, we have taken 4 mgl by pi d square as delta m by m, delta L by L, 2 times delta d by d, because the power of d is 2. So it will be 2 times delta d by d and delta L by L. It is the maximum, so all term will be positive. We have not taken 4 and pi. So in this case, as they are constant, definitely they will not come in the measurement for error there, because we have not measured it. So this will be delta m. Now for this one, if you take, it is 1 by 1000. Why? Because the minimum error or minimum measurement what we can do is of 1 gram in this expression, and in that case it will also represent maximum error there. So it is 1 by 1000 plus delta L. So it is 0.1 divided by 200.0 plus 2 times delta D, that is your 0.001 by 0.075 plus 0.001 by 0.00 by 325, and this entire term is multiplied by 100. This is a simple expression that you are using, and if you simplify, you will get the final result, because the data which is given As per the data, you can calculate the error and you will get this expression. But when you actually do the experiment on Young's modulus of elasticity for a given wire, you will take a particular wire, you will measure its length, you will attach some slotted weight to that. That will produce a force there on the wire, a tension there in the wire, it will stretch it, its length will increase. We find out what is the extension there. So that is small l is there. And then we also measure what is the cross-sectional area of the wire, so that we can write the expression for the stress there, which is your F by A. And in fact, it will be your pi d square giving you the same expression. Mg there is just the force, pi d square is the area of cross-section, small l is the extension, and capital L is the actual length. But when you are doing the experiment, you are attaching the slotted weight there, 1 kg, half kg, 1.5 kg, 2 kg there. You are not measuring that. What you are measuring? You are only measuring the length, original length, measuring the diameter, you are measuring the extension there. Even G, we are not measuring at that place. We just put the value of G there. So if that is why it is not coming in the error. In the expression for Young's modulus value, you will get that. But when you are calculating error, that G is not there, 4 is not there, pi is not there. In the same way, this term should also not be there in the expression for maximum error. And if you just remove this one, because you have not measured that. So if you have not measured the slotted weight, in that case, if it will be only these three terms, and if you simplify this, you will get the expression for error as almost 3.03. So this is the expression for maximum percentage error. If any book has taken this term, that it is also there, their answer will be different, but actual answer should be 3.03, which you'll find in most of the books. Although they will be using this expression, they may not have used this there. Some books which you have used this one, their answer will be different. But as I told you, why it is not being used or it is not taken into consideration, because we have not measured the slotted weight mass there. We have just used that one. So if you have not measured, definitely there will be no error. So error will be 3.03%. Now let's take this question. If two resistors of resistances R1 equals to 4 plus minus 0.5 ohm and R2 equals to 16 plus minus 0.5 ohm are connected in one series, second parallel, find the equivalent resistance in each case with the limits of error. So you have been given two resistances. You have to find the value of equivalent resistance when they are connected in series, when they are connected in parallel there. So first part, let's take in series. R is equals to R1 plus R2. So their values for R, it will be your 4 plus 16, that is 20 ohm. This is the value of R. And if you take the error there, delta R, this is your delta R1 plus delta R2. Because total error in the sum of measurement of two physical quantity, that will be sum of the errors in the measurement of the individual quantities. So this is your 0.5. Delta R2 is also 0.5. So it is your 1 ohm. So equivalent resistance in series, this is 20 plus minus 1 ohm. In parallel combination, the expression for equivalent resistance is related by the formula 1 by R is 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So there R we can get as R1 R2 by R1 plus R2, and this will be equals to 4 into 16 by 4 plus 16. So it is your 64 by 20, and that will give you 3.2 ohm. This is the value of equivalent resistance in parallel combination. Now let's take the errors. For errors, can we write it as delta R by R equals to delta R1 by R1 plus delta R2 by R2? No. Why? Because this is not just the sum there, or it is your 1 by R. We cannot take this as just the sum. If it is your R1 R2, then we can apply. Here, if you consider the formula which we use for this one, how we can get it? If you just differentiate, and by differentiation, it is your 1 by R. So it will be your minus 1 by R square, just like 1 by X differential you are using. So it is your minus 1 by X square into, then for differential of R, we can just use, instead of dr, we can use delta R. So this is basically minus delta R by R square. So same way, if you use for the other terms, it can be written as your delta R by R square. This is your delta R1 by R1 square, delta R2 by R2 square. Just like as it is your 1 by R1, if you differentiate, it is your minus 1 by R1 square into delta R1. This will give you minus delta R2 by R2 square. Minus term we can cancel. You will get this expression. Now if you take, suppose, only delta R by R, then it will be your delta R1 by R1 square, delta R2 by R2 square, and the entire term will be multiplied by R, because R is the equivalent resistance, and here it is your R square. Fractional error if you take, it will be only delta R by R. So this expression will be now, it is your 0.5 by 4 square plus 0.5 by 16 square and whole term multiplied by 3.2. If you simplify this one, this will be your 0.10625. That we can write it as your 0.10 also. In percentage error, if you are writing, in that case it may be written there as a percentage error. This will be this term multiplied by 100. So this will give you 10.625%, or this is your 10.6%. So it can be written as your this much. So basically you remember that you have to use this formula for parallel combination. For those who have not done calculus, or they have not taken maths there in their main subject, for them it may be slightly difficult to understand at this level. Let's try this one in a slightly different way or normal way, and let's see what expression we are getting. This we can write, if one in parallel, 1 by R is your 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So 1 by R plus delta R can be written as 1 by R1 plus delta R1. In terms of the errors, If delta R1 and delta R2 are the errors in the measurement of R1 and R2, this is your 1 by R2 plus delta R2. Of course, it is plus and minus. So now, if I take 1 by R plus minus delta R minus 1 by R, we are subtracting first one from second one. So this is your 1 by R1 plus minus delta R1 minus 1 by R1 term. We are just collecting the term of similar nature at one place. R2, or this is your R minus plus delta R by R plus minus delta R into R. Now we can cancel these terms. So what will be left with? It will be your delta R by R square plus minus R delta R. Now if you neglect these terms, because these terms will be small as compared to the term with which they are being added. So what you will get? Delta R by R square, delta R1 by R1 square, delta R2 by R2 square. This is exactly the same expression which we have obtained using calculus. So you can derive this expression or get this expression even if you don't use calculus. So this is their discussion of few numericals on error analysis.